What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, back with some more boxing. So I figured I had to make this video, and before I get this released to the public, to some of you internet boneheads, I want to just set this disclaimer. This is not a bashing session. I'm not here to bash any other sport. I am a sports fan. I happen to love boxing, but I also like football, baseball, basketball. I have no problem with MMA. It's definitely entertaining. But for me personally, growing up, I had watched tapes of Muhammad Ali. Growing up, I seen Mike Tyson. They had Nintendo games based on this motherfucker, Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Growing up, they didn't have Chris Weidman or Anderson Silva's Punch Out on Nintendo. So for me, boxing is just something that's always been around. I have an older brother. My dad, they watch boxing. So I remember one day I was coming home from school or something, and my dad had recorded, this is back like I think on VHS tapes, I don't really remember, but I remember some kind of way he recorded Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gatti. He's like, this fight came on HBO. He was like, you gotta watch this. This is crazy. I watched it and I was glued. I was like, these motherfuckers are warriors. And this was the very first one. And I don't even remember seeing anything like it, where it was just so rough and tumble, back and forth, non-stop action, heart, blood, sweat. The audience was involved. The energy was electric. And that was just one particular early moment, and I could think of several before that. So in this video, I want to talk about boxing versus UFC. And again, this is not to bash UFC. I have no problem with UFC. It's rather entertaining. I just prefer boxing, me personally. But I don't mind catching a couple UFC. They have some entertaining bouts, and they have some people who are talented as well. So as far as boxing versus UFC, there's been a long-standing battle. UFC has definitely gained popularity. There's a lot of things that UFC does that a lot of people wish boxing promoters and networks would incorporate as well. And I agree. And one thing I definitely like about the UFC and MMA fighting is Dana White, his organization, he fights the best with the best. They pit the best against the best. If someone's hot and there's a veteran champion, at some point you'll probably see that matchup. In boxing, they don't have a governing body. There's a lot of politics, and sometimes you don't get to see the matches we want to see, a la Mayweather versus Pacquiao. And who knows if we'll ever fucking see that. But one thing that can't be denied is boxing has been around longer. Not saying that martial arts or different styles, jiu-jitsu and whatnot, hasn't been around equally as long. But boxing, as far as being publicized to the masses, you had Joe Louis and Ray Robinson and Willie Peps and just a lot of fighters of the past who were very relevant, and people would pay top dollar, like rich people would pay top dollar to go watch these boxing fights live, and they still even have archive footage of some of these fights. So as a entity, I think boxing's been around longer. And some people said boxing was dead and MMA and UFC's taken over. I disagree. I think in the last 2 years, we as fans have been spoiled. There's been a couple fans that are been disgruntled because fights didn't happen, like Kell Brook versus Devin Alexander, Amir Khan, Devin Alexander. And there's been a couple other fights that slipped below the cracks. I wanted to see the Miguel Vasquez versus Ricky Burns as well. And there's a couple other fights I could think of. David Haye, Tyson Fury. I was really looking forward to that. Didn't happen. But as a boxing fan, I really feel spoiled in the last 2 years. 2012, 2013 has been phenomenal. And for the people that said boxing is dead, I have to vehemently disagree, because we've seen some classic matches. Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia, Ruslan Provodnikov, Timothy Bradley, Mike Alvarado versus Ruslan, Mike Alvarado, Brandon Rios, Manny Pacquiao and Brandon Rios, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Trout. And this is just this year. And then you also have emerging talent, Adrian Broner versus Marcos Maidana, great fight. Mikey Garcia is moving up through the ranks. Just a lot of great fights. And they're doing big numbers. A lot of these fights are drawing in like 1.4 million views. Mayweather's last fight with Canelo set record-breaking numbers and can be in the same breath as the De La Hoya Mayweather. So I just want to read some statistics, and I'm not making this up, as posted on the screenshot in case you guys were wondering. These are the release salaries of UFC fighters from the fight card yesterday with Anderson Silva. Chris Weidman, $200,000 plus a potential win bonus of $200,000. So if he win, which he did, that's 400K. Anderson Silva, the veteran who's been fighting a while, his salary was 600,000 plus a potential win bonus of 200,000. Ronda Rousey, 50,000 plus a potential win bonus, which would double that. Misha Tate, 28,000, double her salary if she won. Josh Barnett, 170,000. There's no bonus, no win bonus offered. Travis Brown, 28,000, plus he could double his salary if he were to win. So, as you guys can see, and I'm not making this up, boxing is still the number one in terms of the two combat martial arts sports. Not saying it's number one. Some people prefer UFC. I'm talking about what it grosses. Boxing still does better than UFC. And again, you guys can leave all the asinine comments you want, and if you want to debate, I'm not slandering UFC. I have no problem with UFC, but it's clear these numbers speak for themselves. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And as you can see, Anderson Silva, who was the top dog, even though he was coming off a loss, but he's just a veteran and an all-time great, he was getting 600,000 plus an additional 200,000. So that would be a 800K payday if he were to have won. Versus, look at boxing. Nonito Donaire versus Guillermo Rigondeaux. That fight, they negotiated. Nonito got over $1 million for that fight. Rigondeaux had like 11 professional fights, and he fought Nonito Donaire, and I believe he got somewhere about 800 to 900,000, and that's the amount he got salary. It wasn't, oh, you get 600, and if you win, you get another 200. And this is a motherfucker like Rigondeaux, who is talented, considered an all-time great. Whether you look at him in the professional or amateur arena, he's considered a very skilled fighter, just like Anderson Silva. He's putting himself in harm's way, just like Anderson Silva. And within 12 fights, he's been able to make the same amount as a motherfucker like Anderson Silva, who's been fighting since, I don't even know when Anderson Silva turned pro, 96 or something like that. So boxing is still big business. Canelo, he did, I forgot the exact figures, don't quote me on it, but I think he got like 6 to 12 million guaranteed to fight Mayweather, and Mayweather made upwards of $80 million, $100 million fighting Canelo. Pacquiao got 18 million to fight Brandon Rios. Brandon Rios, I think, got around 4 million. I mean, this is big business. This was Brandon Rios' first pay-per-view headlining event, and he got 4 million, which is shitting if you know anything about math and dollars and dividends. 4 million versus Anderson Silva's 600,000 plus a 200 jackpot if he wins. That's 800,000. Which would you rather have, 800,000 or 4 million? Especially if you notice what happened to Anderson Silva with his leg. Hope he makes a speedy recovery. But that's crazy that Dana White and UFC, they're able to pay their fighters. But hey, if they want to put their lives in harm's way and that's a reasonable paycheck for them and they can live off that, then so be it. But when it comes to the ultimate question, boxing or UFC, MMA, what is the more popular sport? I mean, it speaks for itself. Think about the pay-per-view numbers, think about these salaries, and it speaks volumes. Now, I'm not talking about personal opinion, what particular sport you like better, but when it comes to numbers, from a financial gain standpoint, gross revenue, boxing is clearly overshadowing UFC in that arena. So let me know what you guys think. I personally don't have a problem with either. Just wanted to bring this to your attention and kind of clear the air. Some people were like, oh, UFC and boxing on my last video talking about Anderson Silva. So let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video's Ego signing off.